Conversations with Azu Ishekwele.
The forthcoming electoral contest in the United States in November is going to be a choice between horror and uncertainty. Horror in the looming shadow of Donald Trump, who stands a good chance of returning to the presidency, and uncertainty in the Democratic Party candidate and incumbent President Joe Biden. This forms the subject of our discussion today on Conversation with Azu, our weekly diary on life and politics. And it is titled, In This Difficult Marriage, Democrats Must Love Biden. Azu, the writer of the column, is here with me and we're going to delve straight into the topic. Azu, you're welcome to.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Former President Donald Trump just became a victim of one of the policies he refused to address on the campaign trail. He was shocked. Do you think that might influence the potential change in policy towards gun control should Trump make in December?
Well, I am not. First of all, let me say that what happened, the attempt on Donald Trump's life, the assassination attempt, unfortunate. And my heart goes out to him and also to the gentleman in the crowd who died as a result of that attempt on Trump's life. Very unfortunate. But then to your question about whether the attempt on his life might influence his attitude towards gun violence, I'm not so sure. But the thing about Trump also is that you never know exactly what Trump stands for. I mean, it's one thing in the daytime and entirely different. Yeah, it's very unpredictable. But the gun lobby, the pro-gun lobby in the US is so strong that and Trump needs every possible vote he can get at this time. It's unlikely that he's going to push an agenda that might lead to tighter control of the gun. The gun that might be a pushback of the gun lobby. I do not think that is going to happen. I don't see Trump pushing back, advocating, being a greater advocate of gun control. I do not think so. I don't see that.
All right, let me delve straight now back into the subject of your column. And you are asking Americans to love Biden going into the contest. And Biden himself has said on the campaign trail that he can't debate as he used to, he can't walk as straight as he used to, he can't talk as logically as he used to, but he knows
the truth.
How to say the truth. Do you think that will help him? Do Americans care about the truth?
Well, I think there is also one truth that President Joe Biden must be weighing at this time, and that is the pressure from his party, the increasing pressure from his party for him to step down. It's also one reality, one fact that he's confronted with at this time. For me personally, I mean, and I think that for a good number of people out there, the choice between Biden and Donald Trump is really a no-brainer on a good day. But essentially because of the situation, because of age, I mean, Joe Biden has become frailer, has become far more forgetful, and so as a result of these things have taken a toll on him. And so I think that which is a major challenge that the Democratic Party is facing at this time. With about 3 or 4 months to the election, would especially after what happened in the first presidential debate and what has happened subsequently, would Joe Biden be able to go into a contest? Will he be able to enter the ring in November with Donald Trump? It's looking increasingly unlikely. Although Joe Biden has said that he will not step down, that the only thing that will make him step down is if his doctors say that he can no longer
advise otherwise.
If his doctors advise otherwise. So, but we wait to see he's down with COVID. Some are saying that that's a segue to his exit, but we don't know. But increasingly, influential Democrats are asking him to step down. and taking the view that he might not be able to finish this race. And, so we'll wait to see. I'm sure that in the next couple of days there was an attempt by I think that the Democrats were supposed to have some sort of virtual vote earlier, I think sometime this week, which would have closed off the chances of any attempt to force Biden out of the race. But again, they have deferred that vote until sometime in October. That will ensure that it gets more body blows and things like that, and becomes more apparent for him that he probably will be unable to continue the race. But we'll have to wait to see what happens in the next few days.
And the Democratic Party vice presidential candidate is, if you like, by popular opinion, like in pole position to step into the shoes of Joe Biden if he was not insisting on going on with the race. Do you think, given the fallback of what happened in 2016 when Hillary Clinton ran against Donald Trump, that she stand a chance?
As far as her credentials go, I think she's a good fit. She's been an attorney general, she's been a senator, and she has a very, very impressive progressive record. There's no doubt about that. On health reforms and so forth and so on. But I think, as you rightly said about what happened to Hillary Clinton, I think in America today, although attitudes have shifted a bit, I understand that about 25% of the people in Congress today are women, which is an improvement from what it used to be. But I am not so sure America is ready for a female president, much less a female president of color, because that obviously is going to be a major factor in the race. There are others who have also shown interest. But again, which is part of the problems that the Democratic Party faces. If Biden is not going to run, and you have Kamala Harris as somebody who's probably next in line, the question will be what happens. Will Kamala Harris, in a contest of the nature that we are going to have, be able to face Trump, especially giving still deeply held sentiments about race, first about women, first about female president, and then on top of that about people of color. I am not so sure what is going on. So for me, it's not essentially a matter of whether she's qualified. She's more than qualified. She's been a senator, an attorney general, she's a standing lawyer, a progressive. She's very strong and impressive progressive record. But when the chips are down, remember the so-called silent voters.
The undecided.
The undecided. Yeah, not just the undecided, but the silent voters. Those who will not want to come out before election day to declare their position because they fear, a backlash, and they're just waiting to cast that vote. But they know the reason why they are holding back. I think that Trump still has a very strong hold on that critical segment of the voting population. And I am not sure how Kamala Harris will be able to swing that. It's going to be a tough decision for the Democrats in the next few days.
Against the background that Hillary didn't lose the popular vote, she lost at the Electoral College. So how do you, looking back at that, what are the chances?
You see, and I said in my column also, Hillary is, if there was ever a chance that America would have a female president in the last within the last 1 or 2 decades, Hillary seemed to be that very clear chance that was going to happen. She was Secretary of State. She's been a senator. She's been First Lady. She's, as I said in my column, one of the deepest secrets of the deep state. So she has it all, so to speak. But then, America didn't seem to be quite ready for all sorts of reasons. First of all, of course, there was the trope about the Clinton dynasty. After one Clinton, why should there be another Clinton? So there was that pushback and that trope.
There had been a Bush dynasty before.
But there had been, of course. So, but that also explains what I said earlier, that it seemed to me that in 2016, America did not seem to be quite ready for a female president at that time. But if they are presented with that choice, if they're presented with the choice of another female president, another potential female president on the platform of the Democratic Party, then it's not only gender that will be at play, but also race. And I don't know how the Democratic Party is going to be able to do it.
Yeah, and do you think, looking at the campaign trail as it is now, does it seem to you that Americans remember the horror that happened between 2016 and 2020?
Well, as I said again in my comment, they lost their way once, and
They could lose it again.
and they're really on the verge of losing it again. Because as you said in your introduction, for me, this is really a matchup between horror and uncertainty. And it's
They are the words from your
yes, and it is
your words.
it's a deeply troubling and decisive moment for America. It's their choice who they want to become their president. But I can imagine the trepidation in many parts of the world about just thinking. I mean, just thinking that Trump could be president alone could give you a nightmare. That just thinking about it is enough to give you a nightmare. Never mind having to confront the reality.
And lastly, Trump or Biden or Harris or whoever, what is in it for Africa?
Well, almost nothing. I'm afraid, and I say that with a heavy heart. We all love. I think it's that quality or value of what they call America's exceptionalism that has drawn that America is a city on the hill, is a beacon for most of the world. It's an easy point of reference. That's what has drawn the entire world. Of course, you can't deny America's economic and financial power as well, as values that have drawn the rest of the world to America. But as we have seen, even the giants can stumble sometimes. And I do hope and pray that, as far as Africa is concerned, in the Trump described Africa as a shithole. so it's, and we saw and he treated Africa as a shithole for the 4 years of his presidency. Biden, in his earlier life, anti-apartheid, pro-multilateralism, and all of that, and a friend of the developing. But Biden, in Biden's presidency, I'm not talking about the first Biden in his years in the Senate. For Biden's presidency, perhaps as a result of COVID, as a result of distractions in Europe and in the Middle East, has been far, 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 far away from Africa as we expect. But Africa should also take responsibility for its own future. But nothing much, I'm afraid, in the play for. It's basically an American election that will be decided, in my view, on the economy, on immigration, and I think that those are probably going to be the two major issues in this election. On how does it affect your pocket, and also perhaps on immigration. Those are going to be two major issues in the next election.
Well, this is a conversation I would have loved to go on and on and on, but you won't miss much if you go and read the column. Visit us on azuishekwene.com, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our content. Thank you for coming on the show, Azu.
Thanks for having me.
Bye for now. Bye.
Conversations with Azu Ishekwene.